Hello and welcome to this KOLBUS UK webinar. My name's Greg Bird, I'm the Managing Director of KOLBUS UK, and I'd like to spend the next 10 to 12 minutes talking about our range of Meccanotecnica equipment. Meccanotecnica are an Italian manufacturer of book production machinery, and we've represented them for at least the last 20 years. And they have worldwide renown for their book sewing machines, which they've produced for many, many decades. However, in recent years, they've moved development on to book binding and book trimming, specifically for sewn books, but also unsewn books as well. And it's these areas I'd like to talk to you about today, namely the inline binding solution and the trimming solution. This webinar will be followed by a second webinar in a couple of weeks' time where we look at the more traditional book sewing equipment along with the digital book sewing equipment that's really of interest at the moment. But we like to keep things short and snappy, so we'll do them in two chunks. First of all, this is fourth webinar in a series. The first three were based around KOLBUS auto box equipment, corrugated box making equipment. These two, as I said earlier, will be involving the Meccanotecnica equipment, and what we hope to do is to launch some further webinars involving the KOLBUS luxury packaging equipment and cased book equipment, and more news on that in the next few weeks. So without further ado, let's move on to the first machine, which is the inline binding machine, and we'll go through that step by step. Okay, so we're now looking at the complete inline solution for sewn book production from Meccanotecnica. In this particular case, it's digital book production. As we can see in the foreground, on the left-hand side of the image, we have two Meccanotecnica Universe digital sewers, which can sew complete book blocks from collated 4-page sheets. We'll touch on those machines in the second webinar, where we'll also discuss the conventional sewing machines from Meccanotecnica as well. But in the rear of the picture, you'll see the inline binder. To the right of that, you'll see a tower drying solution. And then to the far right of the image, you'll see the 3-knife trimmer and the stacker. And overall, it presents a very compact and flexible solution with a very small footprint. One of the most interesting things of this solution is that the binder is completely modular. So that means that we can take elements from that binder, such as the first two elements, which are nipping and end papering, and attach those in isolation to a sewing machine. So for example, from the sewing machine, we can nip the sewn book block and end paper and then deliver it so that it can be taken to any other various binding solutions. So as we go through the binder, we'll talk about the modular system and how that can be used to the customer's advantage. So you'll now see the image of the Meccanotecnica nipping station. Now this, as you can see in this particular image, is a standalone nipping station, or this can represent the first module of the inline binder. Importantly, this nipping station, in either guise of inline binder or in isolation, can be installed behind any book sewing machine, and it is an essential part of quality sewn book production. Firstly, the nipping station will ensure that the book is square and has no swell in the spine, which is a common feature of a sewn book if the folding is of large sections and there is trapped air between the sections. Plus also it enables it to be produced very easily through the next operations, such as end papering or book gluing. With a very square and nipped spine, the production values, or production efficiencies rather, will be increased and the quality will be raised also. I'd like to show you a brief animation for just 30 seconds of the nipping unit in action and the principles behind it. And you'll see that as the book block is fed directly from the sewing machine, that there is evidence of swell in the spine of the book. Extremely common and difficult to eradicate unless you have post-sewing nipping. And as we've said, or I've said before, the processes that follow sewing can be made so much more efficient if the swell in the spine of the book is eradicated. Not to mention the image of the book, the quality of the book being enhanced. So once the book is fed into the nipping machine, you'll see it progress through to the nipping station. And this is very important, that it's nipped equally from both sides, so the front and back of the book have equal pressure to ensure a very square and even book block. And then you'll see that the book is then delivered onto the next operation, or indeed this could be the next operation of the inline binder, such as end papering. To briefly recap on the nipping process, you'll see that highlighted in this image is the nipping plates, and it's critical that these are of equal pressure. And as these nipping plates come in to press the book, they can exert up to 4 tons of pressure, and this is infinitely variable between 0 and 4 tons, and can be set so, depending on paper types and book size, that the correct amount of pressure is placed on the book, resulting in the highest quality. So the final image of this nipping section is of an installation in the United States, where we have a Meccanotecnica book nipper and end papering unit connected in line with a digital book sewer. And you can clearly see from this image that the sewing machine on the left is taking the collated 4-page sheets on the delivery into the sewing machine. It's folding those 4 pages, making sections of 16, 24, 32 pages, sewing them together, and then delivering them into the nipping area, and then end papering the book blocks, which you can see emerging from the delivery on the right. A very neat and small compact system for producing sewn book blocks from digital sheets, which can then be taken to any binding solution within the same company or to outworkers. The final development I'd like to share with you before we move on to the next stage is the adoption of the Siemens Simatic machine controls for all of Meccanotecnica's equipment. It's an important development, as it means that the performance and reliability has been vastly improved, along with the availability of replacement parts. And it also is essential to enable us to choose various modules to create the bespoke inline binder for a customer's direct wishes. So this is a major step forward that sees us increase the flexibility of the equipment we offer. I'd now like to show you a video of the whole inline binder in action. You'll see the elements that we've looked at closely, i.e. the book nipping and end papering, but it will then be followed by the book gluing, book lining, paperback cover feeding option, and book pressing, and ultimately delivering to the conveying system. So have a look at this video, and then I'll just recap on some of the things you've seen.
Introducing the new Inline, Meccanotecnica's new multifunctional and modular book finishing line. Thanks to its modularity and a speed up to 1,200 books per hour, the line enables multiple forms of finishing. Hardcover preparation, paperback production, and Oda-bind method. The solution is operated standalone with just one operator, or in the alternative, nearline, and inline with Universe Sewing. Books are first conveyed under a thickness reading device for automatic setup, then laid spine down into the unit. The blocks enter the nipping station, where the spine is pressed and squared to guarantee top quality products. Books are then conveyed to the end papering station. A layer of hot melt is applied while two hoppers deliver end sheets at both sides of the book. The new double belt system ensures the best transport and alignment of the end sheets. End papers are secured to the book while a second thickness reading device fine-tunes the setup. The blocks enter the back gluing module, where they are taken through combined transport belts at constant speed for the application of the glue layers. Spine glue and side glue can be set individually. A second set of belts, step motion controlled, keep the block steady while applying the lining. And at the following pressing unit. Books are transferred to the laydown station, where they are gently delivered to the conveyor belt by a special clamping device. The line processes books with different thickness on the fly. This is ideal for digital printing and short runs. Inline also features a cover feeder unit for paperback production. Covers are fed into the module and automatically creased on the two sides according to the thickness of the book. The books are then carefully side pressed and delivered on the conveyor belt. The line also performs the Autobind method. This technique makes the spine less rigid, improving the lay-flat property of a paperback.
So an interesting look at the inline binding solution. In that particular video, you saw the machine was compiled of all of the available options, including the paperback cover feeder as well. And you will see that the machine is controlled very easily by the touchscreen. Adjustments are very, very simple to make, if indeed required, because you will have also seen that the machine can accommodate variations in thickness with no make ready at all. So that's important for producing digital products of a similar format. The auto binding option was also very interesting as well for the highest quality of paperback books, offering the maximum flexible spine. All of this at a speed of 1200 books an hour makes this whole binder a very viable option for digital book production, however many options are included. So I think we've touched on the inline binder. We'll now move on to the trimming, where we'll see some equally ingenious developments of that machine. So moving on to the second machine in this webinar, the Meccanotecnica trimming solution. This machine has been available for the last 2 to 3 years, although we are now launching the very new generation with some added flexibility. The machine occupies a unique place in the 3-knife trimming market because not only does it offer a mid-range running speed of 2,400 books per hour, it can also be increased with the option of cutting in multiples, so cutting books in piles of 2 or 3. But linked to that, it has the ability to change size for every book, which is incredibly important for the digital book market. Now, the flexible or variable size trimming mode can be operated either by simply typing in the book sizes into the HMI screen, or it can be used by downloading the job data into the 3-knife trimmer, or finally, and more regularly, a barcoding system on each product which carries the information to enable the machine to set to the right size. And with this mode of operation, we can still see very significant output figures of 700 to 800 books per hour, all of variable sizes. And we'll see that in the up and coming videos. So briefly, we'll just look at the footprint of the machine, and you can see that the new generation is 1 meter shorter than the previous generation. And this has been a big change because it's enabled the machine to be far more flexible in tight spaces, which is quite often a demand of customers, is to reduce the footprint to the minimum size possible. And it's also important to note that with this reducing size, there has been no effect on the machine flexibility or the options that we can specify on the machine at all. In fact, they've been increased with the launch of the new generation. I'd like to introduce a short video to showing the trimming machine operating in one of those modes that we've just mentioned. And the first mode I'd like to show you is in the Book of One mode. And this is the mode which enables you to print a small barcode, either straightforward line barcode or 2D barcode, onto the book in any position on the front or back cover, and to allow the machine to then take the information from that barcode and make ready the machine to its individual size. You'll see during the video that the size change is extremely rapid, and of course this can result in books of different trim sizes, different format sizes, and indeed different thicknesses, all being processed without any need for machine make ready at all.
Trimming allows fully variable changeovers without operator intervention. The Data Matrix Reader, available upon request, acquires book size and trim data to perform the setup, while a dedicated device measures the thickness.
So I think you'll agree that was a very interesting look at that machine in its Book of One mode. And one important thing I'd like to add is that you may have noticed that the books being delivered to the trimming machine were indeed of different format sizes, as well as being different sizes of trim. And there was absolutely no need to adjust the position of the barcode reading camera. As you could clearly see, it was identifying the barcodes, even though they were in different positions and different areas on the in-feed belt. So it really is a very flexible mode of operation with minimal to zero operator attention required. The next mode of operation I'd like to show you is a more conventional running style, so books of the same size, but an interesting development is the way in which the Meccanotecnica trimming machine can process paperbacks with 8-page gatefold covers, or covers with flaps as they're sometimes referred, in one pass. On more traditional trimming machines, this type of production, where the cover flap actually protrudes over the trim of the foredge, would have required the book to be trimmed into two separate processes, once before binding to trim the foredge and once after binding for the head and tail. This obviously creates lots of production issues, having to occupy the trimmer for twice as long as normal. So an option on the Meccanotecnica trimmer is to have a system which allows the cover to be moved out of the path of the foredge knife. And if you watch this video, you'll see how that's cleverly done. First of all, the video shows the books being produced, and then at the end of the video there is an animation which clearly shows the technical advance inside the machine, which enables us to carefully lift open the flap on both the front and back cover, trim the foredge, and then carefully lay the cover back into position again.
Available upon request, a special device allows processing covers with flaps.
Another mode of operation, which is fairly unique to the Meccanotecnica trimming machine, is double cut. And double cutting is a method in which we can accommodate the sometimes oversized trim area that digital book production presents us with. So the short video you're just about to see will show you how the book, once in the trimming area, is actually trimmed once, repositioned, trimmed again to double the amount of offcut. Now, the standard amount of offcut on each of the three edges, the head, the tail and the foredge, is 25 millimeters. But this can be increased on the head and tail to 60 millimeters and increased even further on the foredge to 90 millimeters in extreme circumstances with the option of the double cutting. Have a look at this brief video and you'll see it in action. So three rather interesting videos there of the trimming machine in action in various modes. Firstly, the book of one variable size mode. Secondly, the covers with gatefold covers. And finally, the very useful double cut function for the extreme trim offs that you may find when using standard stock on some digital variable book sizes. And that's not forgetting that it can also be used as a standard 3-knife trimmer running at 2,400 an hour, where a straightforward make ready is required at the beginning of the job run. And that can be managed by the operator on a HMI screen, touch screen, which is very similar in design to the inline binder, so familiar to operators in that respect, and a very fast make ready of just standard inputting sizes and full automated make ready of the machine. In addition to that, through the HMI, we can fault diagnose, we can connect remotely to identify any machine issues and remedy them online. So a very comprehensive machine in quite a small package. So before we leave the Meccanotecnica trimming machine, I'd just like to also talk a little bit about the information that the trimming machine can provide your production team. So as you can see from this image, it's highlighting the fact that we can provide information from the trimming machine via the HMI on the side of the machine or remotely to any handheld device or laptop. And this information can concern current operation of the machine, job batch management, mechanical issues or resolutions to various stoppages, and can help provide information for your production management systems. And finally, I'd just like to add that this machine, because of its multiple mode of operation, and high quality build should be seriously considered with any investment project regarding replacement of existing 3-knife trimmers or venturing into the book production market for the first time. So that brings us towards the end of this webinar regarding Meccanotecnica book production equipment. We've touched on the inline binder and all of its available modules, from nipping, end papering, hardcover production, softcover production. We've also covered the 3-knife trimmer and all of the modes of operation that that's able to produce. And I hope you found it of interest. As I say, the second webinar in this series will be focusing on the sewing machines and the digital sewing machines as well. But you can see that we can provide a comprehensive solution to book production, including the complicated world of digital production, or we can help with just one of these elements, which may improve the efficiency of your line. I do hope you can join me in a question and answer session after this webinar. I'll be more than happy to take any questions and do my utmost to provide you with the necessary answers. If you're watching a recording, then of course that will not be possible, but please do get in contact with either myself at KOLBUS UK or anyone else within the KOLBUS UK organisation, and I'm sure we'll be able to put you in touch with someone who can help you with your query. Thank you for your time, and I hope to catch you again on the second webinar. And for now, keep safe and please get in touch if you do require any more information. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.